I think we would be saying, hey, we probably just saw the best match of the year, except for those 3 other matches that happened at Wrestle Kingdom already. This is the Tanahashi versus Shingo match. That match was amazing. It was the longest match in Never Openweight title history, and I'm assuming I didn't look. I'm guessing, and I'm pretty sure it is the first Never Openweight championship for Tanahashi.
Yes, been a Never Openweight 6-man champion several times, but first reign with the Never Openweight championship.
So we haven't really talked about New Japan since New Year's Dash. There's usually kind of a lull between New Year's Dash and kind of the end of the month when the New Beginning shows end up happening before anything of note ends up playing out. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the New Beginning show. Oh, geez, I don't even know which one it was because I didn't write it down. The one we had a
New Beginning in Nagoya.
Well, we're going to talk about that one, but we also have a couple other things to talk about as well. We did have a junior tag title match on one of the Road 2 shows. And then we did have the New Beginning in Nagoya. And then we also have a little bit of news coming out of New Japan Strong. And then we also have a reappearance of the Switchblade at one of these shows as well. So we will get all into that. So you're listening to the That's Wrestling podcast. If you're listening to this as a podcast, you can head over to YouTube or Twitch because we do this show live over there. So you can pick your platform of choice for that. The link is in the show notes. If you have any comments, questions, feedback, you can send those to Eric at that'swrestling.com. Follow us over on Twitter at That's Wrestling 1 with the number 1, and for some reason YouTube is looking really funny today. And you can come hang out with us in our Discord as well. Head over to your favorite podcast app, give us a review. And tonight I have back with me Trae Wisecarver. How's it going, man? It's been a long weekend.
It's been a lot of things, man, but that Tanahashi Shingo match is just holding it all together for me. Just something to hold on to, something beautiful art that has been created. It's a reason to retain a little bit of faith in life.
All right. So let's get talking back. We had a junior tag title match, and I don't even know what day it was on. I think it was Saturday the 23rd. Yes, it was. So this was Yoshinobu Kanemaru and El Desperado defending their championship against El Phantasmo and Taiji Ishimori. We had a little bit of this in the chat. I hated this match so much.
I like this match.
It is this format is getting so old. And I was talking about how I love El Phantasmo, but as soon as he comes in with I love El Phantasmo, I love Taiji Ishimori. But once you put them together as a tag team, like the matches end up being exactly the same.
I'm not gonna argue that point. It's just that I like the match.
I don't have any notes on this particular match because it was just frustrating as hell. But there was like a zillion ref bumps. If I remember correctly, Red Shoes got totally wiped out. Marty Asami comes down. He gets completely wiped out as well. And then Red Shoes is back in later. But yeah, it's just like a lot of beating up of the refs, a lot of just cheating, a lot of the cheating in front of the ref and not even getting as much as a scolding, let alone a DQ. Standing on the guy's nuts, that's a common one from these two. I could do without that spot ever again. It's what, like, their matches, their match ends up always like taking me out and be like, these refs are useless. If there's nothing that can disqualify you, then why is anybody even trying and not to get away with this stuff?
I don't know. Yeah, the main thing, the ongoing storyline with El Phantasmo is the loaded super kick that he apparently has going on now that he's been winning with, and they finally named it here Sudden Death.
Sudden Death.
And I thought that was a pretty good name for what they're doing.
All right, so I don't know which order we should do this in. Let's go New Beginning first. So New Beginning in Nagoya, January 30th, 2021. There was actually only 5 matches on the card. And even in a lot of these Road 2 shows, there have only been 5, and I think some as low as like 4 matches. Like on today's card, for that happened this morning, there was a whopping 4 matches. And yeah, I would be very let down if I was in the crowd for some of these shows where you end up only having 4 matches. Like today's was 7 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, 25 minutes. Like it's kind of underselling here what's going on.
Well, it's because of the state of COVID in Japan. There's been they've been trying to. There's a lot of restrictions. I think they have to get all the shows done within 2 hours. They have to be run between 6 and 8 p.m.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that too. So yeah, oh yeah, so they have to be done by 8 o'clock. Basically, everybody has to head home because I think they have curfew and all that stuff. But it's kind of weird that they're just running Tokyo constantly. And I don't know how well that is. I don't know if they're burning out their crowd, because I read some of their crowds are some of the lowest that they've ever had in years, not just because of COVID, but like they're not even close to getting out to, they're running at like 25% capacity and can't even sell that.
Yeah, well, it's I think it's just they're trying to run enough to stay functioning, and they're staying in Tokyo because they don't want to travel very much. And it's just the situation with the world. I kind of accept it.
Yeah, I wonder if it would make sense for them to go back to more of a closed set filming type of thing to get a little bit more substance out of some of these shows, because like a lot of these shows it's the same card over and over and over again. So it's like I didn't even I haven't bothered watching like any of these Road 2 shows because it's the same card like every single night. So that's why I didn't know what happened with Jay White popping back up.
I actually have watched all of them except for the last 2, because today and yesterday, just because I've been.
Do you just kind of throw them on in the background and?
Pretty much. Yeah. It's the pleasant distraction.
All right. So let's get into this show. The New Beginning in Nagoya, like I said, January 30th, 2021. They started off Kazuchika Okada curtain jerking here. Wow. How the mighty have fallen here.
It's just because of circumstances, and they're doing very limited cards.
So Okada teams up with Toru Yano versus Evil and Yujiro Takahashi with Dick Togo at ringside. This match was a cluster and a half. I did not care for this match. It was what you would expect out of an Evil match for the past. If you see an Evil match, you pretty much expect what happened in this match. Yano hits a dick kick and a roll up for the win.
Yeah, they did all the bullshit with the cheating and the Dick Togo, but at least we got it out of the way in the opener.
Yeah. The next match was LIJ faction. So Ibushi, Hiromu Takahashi, Tetsuya Naito, and Sanada versus Kota Ibushi, Sho, Master Wato, and Tomoaki Honma. This match was fine. Really, it was just to get a few little previews here and there. Sho versus Hiromu and Kota Ibushi versus Sanada. Like I said, this match was serviceable. Sho got the win with a power breaker and then a shock arrow over Bushi. Thought this match was okay.
Yeah, I mean, we got teases for the various upcoming singles matches. You know, got enough of Bushi versus Sanada to whet my appetite for that. Sho versus Hiromu was going to be violent and high impact and glorious.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We've seen Ibushi and Sanada a couple times over the past couple years at this point. I'm assuming it's going to be a good match. I don't think any of them have been great, but it should be on the higher side of good, I think. We'll see how
I thought
they do.
the G1 final was pretty great.
Let's see. Then we move on to Hiroyoshi Tenzan versus the Great Okan, and the loser can no longer use the Mongolian chops. We head back down into the bottom of the barrel on this one. This match was not that good. It was a bit slow and plodding, and Khan has no charisma. Tenzan is old and not moving as well as he should be. Okan attacks Tenzan before he even gets to the ring. We have some strikes in the ring. Khan works a reverse triangle choke, which was kind of the highlight of the match there. Tenzan cranks Khan's... Tenzan hit this back flying heel kick, and just clocked Khan right in the face. Back and forth, they have a Mongolian chop battle, because why not? And then Tenzan works a head and arm choke. Khan escapes that. Tenzan misses the moonsault, and then the Great Okan takes over from there. He hits the Tenzan driver that did not look very good, and hits the Eliminator or the Dominator. Is it the Dominator or the Eliminator?
Okay, I just had to fix it in my notes. The nickname, his nickname is the Dominator. The move is the Eliminator.
Okay. All right. So I wrote it down correctly because I went to NJPW 1972 to check what the finish was, and they called it the Eliminator there, but I believe on commentary they call it the Dominator. And he gets the win, so Khan can continue to scream like a little girl while he uses the chops.
Yeah. So one of the main stories of the show is that El Phantasmo is doing commentary with Kevin Kelly.
Yes,
and he's just fucking hilarious. So the interest of this match, Kevin Kelly, he describes the Great Okan giving Tenzan the TTD and injuring his neck in New Year Dash, and he just goes, "Yeah, that was awesome." So the only thing could have been cooler is if he chopped his head off with a sword. And then Kevin Kelly talking about the Great Okan said he was 46 and 0 in Rev Pro, and he said, "It's not that hard. I've been in Rev Pro. I know who he's facing." And then, oh my god, he was talking about Tenzan. A lot of my notes are just shit that El Phantasmo said. He's talking about Tenzan. He goes, "Hey, did you know he was in the NWO? That's cool as hell. I just found that out." It's just El Phantasmo's commentary was just the highlight for me. The match. This was every I wrote that this is every mid-card New Japan singles match you've ever seen, which is not something that you see a ton of anymore, but it was just so generically old school New Japan that it kind of made my heart happy. It wasn't a very good match, but this is the most 2-star New Japan singles match you will ever see. It was not great, but I kind of enjoyed it for what it was.
Then we move on to one of the 2 matches that saved this show. And this was... we didn't really need this match, but it was Satoshi Kojima versus Will Ospreay in a no DQ match. Something we rarely see in New Japan. Ospreay comes to the ring with some plunder. He's carrying a guitar. He's carrying a trash can full of cookie trays and the lid to the trash can. He leaves most of it at ringside, though throws a couple things in. They throw hands in the ring, and then on the outside, Ospreay hits Kojima with a cookie sheet. Kojima then backdrops Ospreay through the trash can. Ospreay finds the flimsiest looking ladder in history. That thing would not be able to be sold in this country because it's probably got like a 3-pound weight limit.
Why are their tables so strong, but their ladders are so flimsy?
Right? Oh my god. So he finds that ladder. He sets it up between the barricade and the apron. It's one of those ones that hinges in the middle, so you can use it either as like a step ladder, like a V step ladder, or just like a regular extension ladder. But I would not trust that extension ladder, like I said, with anything more than a small child. So he sets that up, and then he grabs some chairs and throws them into the ring. He sets one up open, and he ends up getting hip tossed through the open chair. Kojima hits a elbow drop on Ospreay with a chair laid across him. Ospreay sets up a table on the outside, so we have Chekhov's table and Chekhov's ladder at this point. Ospreay hits a Pip Pip Cheerio and a back suplex in the ring for a 2 count. Ospreay grabs the guitar that he had left on the outside. He swings and misses. Kojima hits a DDT, grabs the guitar, smashes it over Okada's head. Not Okada, Ospreay's head, and that thing just exploded into like a zillion pieces. They did the smart thing and took all the framing out of the inside, which is the smart thing to do. Kojima set up a table in the corner. This backfires on him as Kojima gets power bombed through it. Ospreay hits an Os Cutter for a 2 count, and then Ospreay sets up 4 chairs facing each other. And Ospreay goes to the top, and Kojima follows him and gives him a clothesline off the top, sending him through the table that was, the ladder that was set up on the outside. Eventually, Ospreay gets back into the ring. Kojima hits a vertical brainbuster on a pile of chairs. And Ospreay then hits a hidden blade through a chair, then one to the back of the head, then a Stormbreaker, and gets the victory. So Chekhov's table just remained a table.
Yeah, this was a really good match. Like, Kojima, man, like 2 high-quality singles matches in a month, man. Dude, not bad for a 50-year-old dude. So there's a spot, Kojima went for the lariat, and Ospreay, like, grabbed his arm and did some crazy spinny shit and somehow ended up powerbombing Kojima through a table. That was crazy. And the moment toward the end when Ospreay went for the Os Cutter again, but Kojima hit him with a lariat to the back, that ruled.
Mm-hmm.
And then, roaring elbow into a chair, hidden blade, Stormbreaker. Yeah, man, that was a banger. This was some good shit.
Yeah, I thought this was a fun. I like trash wrestling. I am a fan of this type of stuff sometimes. So for what it was, I thought it was fine. I thought the flimsiest of the flimsiest ladders was pretty funny. And that table remained a table. I was only a little disappointed on that one.
Yeah, this wasn't like it wasn't a plunder match. It was a wrestling match with plunder.
Yeah. I don't even remember what set up this match.
Okay, so it was the Empire beat down Tenzan and Kojima at New Year Dash. They injured Tenzan. They had a tag match last on the show with the junior tag title match. They had a tag match with Tenzan and Kojima against Ospreay and Okan, and it ended in a disqualification when Tenzan just started wailing on Great Okan with a chair, and they kept doing that. They kept doing the same match on the Road 2 shows, and they did like 2 or 3 3-minute no contest in a row, and then finally they did the challenges for the Ospreay challenge Shingo to a no DQ match, and that was how this got there.
Alrighty, so lastly we had the match of the year starting January 6th. Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Shingo Takagi for the Never Openweight Championship. They start off with a pretty basic start, some match work, exchanging holds, some light striking exchanges here and there. Tanahashi starts to work over the leg of Shingo, and this is going to play throughout the entire match. Shingo did a great job selling the leg the entire time, basically limping at all times, except for a couple little hope spot type of sections. We have some fighting on the outside. Tanahashi sent into the barricade, gets smashed onto the edge of the apron, DDT on the floor. Shingo keeps selling the knee. Shingo hits some elbow strikes to the side of the neck, and then a elbow off the second rope for a 2 count. And then Tanahashi hits a drop kick to the knee. So continuing to target dragon screw, somersault senton. Tanahashi hits his aces high off the top rope to the floor. Shingo avoids a twist and shout and ends up hitting 2 of his own. And then Tanahashi catches a kick and then hits a drop kick to the knee once again. Shingo chop blocks Tanahashi's knee. So now we're kind of attacking each other's knees. And then, of course, he does a knee drop onto Tanahashi's knee, which is not a smart move. He ends up hurting himself in the process. Shingo hits a dragon screw with Tanahashi stuck in the ropes. He actually had taken down Tanahashi. He wiped him out, and he starts playing Tanahashi's leg like a guitar, which was pretty funny. He hits a powerbomb, then Shingo works a single leg crab for a bit. Tanahashi fights out of it. He hits a few dragon screws, and Tanahashi sets up Shingo on the second rope and pulls him off of it with a dragon screw. Man, that could have been really bad depending on how he ended up posting on that leg when he landed. Tanahashi puts on a cloverleaf. They work this for about a minute and a half. Tanahashi lets it go. He had been cranking it back so that Shingo's head was completely cocked to the side, so they did kind of like a almost pass out spot, which was pretty nice. So Tanahashi lets it go so he can go up. He hits a high fly flow to the back, flips him over, but misses the second one. So we have our double down, and when they get back up to their feet, Shingo hits a wheelbarrow German suplex into the turnbuckle. This is at the 25-minute mark. Shingo hits a dragon suplex and hits the most brutal made in Japan ever, dropping Tanahashi right on his head. I think luckily one of Tanahashi's shoulders was over top of Shingo's thigh when he landed, and that was basically the only saving grace to keep him from completely crumpling his neck. And but it seemed like he was okay after that. Tanahashi comes back, hits a few twists and shouts, hits a straightjacket German for a 2, hits a sling blade. He goes up to the top, but Shingo blocks the aces high and picks him up and hits a Death Valley driver. But they are both spent and he can't make it over for a pin attempt. Shingo hits a rope assisted GTR and then crushes Tanahashi with an amazing pump and bomber. This, like, I wouldn't even minded if this was the finish because he just decked him.
I wrote Shingo hit Tanahashi with a pumping bomber, and it sounded like he got smacked with a log.
So yeah, if Shingo was going over in this match, they should have just ended it right there because it would have been still a great ending. They exchange a bunch of strikes, which is usually not a good choice going up against Shingo. Tanahashi hits another dragon suplex, but Shingo rolls through. But Tanahashi comes back, hits a sling blade, only gets a 1 count. Shingo hits a massive lariat. He only gets a 1 count. They then collide in the middle, trying to take each other out with a lariat. And then Shingo wipes Tanahashi out with one. Tanahashi reverses a last of the dragon into a sling blade. He goes up to the top, hits aces high, hits another dragon suplex with a bridge this time for a 2. And then Tanahashi goes up to the top, hits high fly flow, and gets the pin. And Hiroshi Tanahashi is the new never openweight champion in what was the longest never openweight title match as well. So this match was great.
Yeah, so a man of finesse trying to cut it in the BMF division. This was a different type of never title match, but like that's cool. The battle of styles and battle of fighting ideologies are the essence of New Japan. And the never title has gone in different directions from time to time, so it'll be interesting to see what direction Tanahashi takes it.
I mean, this is the style. I think obviously Tanahashi's getting older at this time. He doesn't move as well. This is kind of the style that he should slowly start working in, and he did not look out of his element at all in this match. It looked like he was completely in the comfort zone. They did not do much rope running. They did not need him to run. And one thing I noticed, how does a guy who can barely walk maintain such good cardio? Because at about the 20-minute mark, I noticed Tanahashi isn't sweating at all. And Shingo is like drenched.
I don't know, man. There were like so many points in this match that they totally got me with false finishes. When they did the thing off the top rope that hurts Shingo's knee, so Tanahashi put him in the Texas Cloverleaf. Like I really thought Red Shoes was about to stop it, but then Tanahashi let him go, hit the high fly flow to the back, and okay, he's gonna hit the high fly flow to the front and win. And Shingo avoided that high fly flow, and holy shit, like that was just the match kicking into high gear. Brutal, made in Japan, that like you talked about, dropped Tanahashi straight on his head. So
I have that spot because I wrote down it happened at the 25-minute mark. That high fly flow that he missed was at the 25-minute mark. There was still 10 more minutes left in the match.
Yeah, that was just turning it up to 11. So I accidentally knew the result going in. So for a while, I was concerned that losing the match was going to take some shine off of Shingo. But he came out of this smelling like a rose. Tanahashi made him look like a fucking beast. He somehow came out looking stronger in losing than if he would have won. And when he does beat Tanahashi, which, you know, it maybe like in the G1 this year or something, it's going to be incredible. The pumping bomber that, as I wrote, sounded like Tanahashi got smacked with a log. At this point, Tanahashi was at risk of becoming overcome by sheer violence, but he showed his own BMF chops by headbutting Shingo in the face. And then they went into that incredible near fall sequence, fighting spirit spot galore, sling blades, lariats. The longer it went, the more like a violent never title match it became. And Tanahashi counters, I wrote Lady of the Dragon, Last of the Dragon, turned it into the sling blade, went up top, hit the aces high, hit the dragon suplex hold. And okay, that was Tanahashi's finishing hold as a young wrestler. And I thought that we were going back in time and we were going to get Tanahashi winning with the dragon suplex. So I completely bet on that near fall as well. Shingo kicked out again, and then Tanahashi hit the high fly flow and won. And I just wrote, holy shit.
Post-match, Shingo was, like you said, came up smelling gross because he was completely gracious in defeat. He stood up and pats Tanahashi on the chest. Tanahashi already had the belt over his shoulder, so Shingo kind of like grabbed the belt, pulled it a few inches away from him, and like put it back on his shoulder as a sign of respect to passing the belt along to the victor. And then both of them are gesturing that they want to do this one more time. Yes, please.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, please.
So after that, since this is the last match of the night, Tanahashi wants to send the crowd home happy, so he plays some air guitar for the crowd, and when he's wrapping up and he's on the mic about to sign off, he gets laid out by the Great Okan. He attacks him from behind and hits him with the Eliminator. And I only got one word from Khan's promo that I could make out, and that was Tokyo Dome. That's the only word I recognized out of what he said. And I'm assuming it's a challenge for the title and something to do with Tokyo Dome from their match.
I wrote, they're going to put my fucking never title on the Great Okan.
I hope not. So that comes to the question: how long do you think Tanahashi will be holding on to the Never Openweight Championship?
I think he's going to lose it to the Great Okan. Anniversary show?
Well, that'd be a bummer. Show that would be a giant bummer. All right, how much do you know about the Jay White coming back thing?
Nothing other than that it happened.
Yeah, me neither. That's all I know. Jay White. When we were talking on Saturday, I looked up Jay White's profile was gone from the New Japan website. On Wiki, he had actually been removed from the Bullet Club. Actually, why don't I check right now to see if Jay White's profile is back now, and that he's still part of the Bullet Club. But he did come back. So, and yes, his profile is back once again, and is part of the Bullet Club. So,
my favorite was a lot of people, and I knew we talked about it on Saturday. Jay White's got a long-term contract with New Japan. He wasn't going anywhere. That was a work, but a number of people convinced that he was going to show up in the Royal Rumble. And my favorite tweet was somebody that wrote, "Tricking people into watching the Royal Rumble. What heel work by Jay White."
So yeah, he so this is from the website. He returned at the show last night and taking out Tomohiro Ishii. So this happened on the 1st at the Kurikan Hall show, and again is part of Bullet Club. But of course, this continues to render the question: who is going to be the leader of Bullet Club? Are we going to have the problem with Evil butting up against Jay White? Because I don't know which one of them is actually the leader.
Yeah, I think I don't know. That's probably going to continue to be a pending question going on. I don't know. I bet that they'll be in the same G1 block this year, and we'll see what happens when they wrestle each other.
Are they going to push it all the way out to the fall?
Probably, yeah.
Because I actually saw that they are pushing to have the Olympics actually happen this year, which sounds like a really bad idea. Because I mean, it's supposed to be what, in 4 months, 5 months? Sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah, really bad idea. Yeah.
All right. And then lastly, at the New Japan Strong show on Friday, after a match which involved Bullet Club member, it was El Phantasmo and Kenta were in it.
It was El Phantasmo, Kenta, and Hikuleo against Fred Rosser, Leo Rush, and hold on, I have it right here. Fred Rosser, Leo Rush, and TJP.
Right. So after that match was over, the lights go out and they come back on, and Jon Moxley is in the ring with the U.S. Championship belt, and he wipes out ELP and has a stare down with Kenta. They throw hands. Kenta tries to hit a go to sleep. Moxley gets out of it, hits the Death Rider, basically says that, hey, Kenta, you thought you were going to get off easy. That is not the case. You have just stepped into a nightmare. They say, or he said, we're going to be meeting in Tokyo at some time, but it's actually going to be happening on U.S. soil at the end of this month. I believe is it the 26th? On the 26th.
Pretty sure that match had already been taped.
That is the rumor. Yes,
we talked about on the show Saturday that I can't nail down when the hell these different stuff was taped. But yeah, I know this is not news, but Kevin Kelly is the fucking best. The way he called, you saw it, right?
Yes.
Did you see his excitement when Jon Moxley showed up? Oh my God, he was great. And
well, even
you undersold.
It's Alex Kozlov, right? That's the other? Yeah, he was like going crazy as well.
Alex Kozlov is such a terrible color commentator that he's good. He's so bad that he goes all the way through the other side, and he's like, it's entertaining how bad he is. But you undersold how great the ELP thing was, man. So Moxley, the lights go out, Moxley appears, he's standing there with the U.S. title on his shoulder. And then ELP tells Kenta, I got it, don't worry about it. And then he charges, and Moxley just wipes him out with the belt. And it was beautiful. My God, ELP was great. ELP is great at everything.
So, obviously, this was filmed back in December at some point, because ELP is in Japan. So obviously, he has been there since before WrestleKingdom, because they would have had to quarantine for 2 weeks before WrestleKingdom even started. So ELP would have had to be in Japan since the 23rd of December or something like that. Or 22nd, something like that.
Yeah. So I think that there was the original set of tapings in probably August. And then there was another set of tapings that included the Super J Cup and the later stuff. And I think, I could be wrong, but just looking at it, so Tom Lawler was, like, they had a video thing. He wasn't at these tapings. They brought in Chris Dickinson. So I think maybe the second set of tapings were when Lawler had COVID, because he had COVID a couple of months ago.
Right.
So.
Oh, yeah, that actually makes sense. So we could be talking, this was filmed probably late October, mid-November, somewhere in that area.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. So then it comes to, what about the match with Kenta and Moxley? Had they taped that far forward? I'm guessing not. If Moxley was saying it's going to be in Tokyo, I'm guessing he didn't realize, they didn't know that it wasn't going to be taking place in Tokyo.
No, I took it more of a we'll do this in Tokyo someday, but we're gonna do this when we can.
So yeah, so this match might have actually already been filmed, which means that Kenta went into WrestleKingdom defending his briefcase for a match that he's already had. Chronologically speaking, in real world terms, but that's kind of, which is kind of funny. You rarely ever see this type of thing happen, where you have something filmed completely out of order, something filmed before a live event actually takes place. But it actually did happen on AEW recently, within the past 2 months, I think, because Thunder Rosa, she came out with the NWA title belt before she actually won, or the other way around.
Serena Deeb, yes.
Serena Deeb, yeah, sorry. Serena Deeb came out with the title belt on live TV for a match that hadn't actually taken place yet, or vice versa.
came out on a tape show with a belt that she hadn't won yet.
There we go. That was it. Yeah, it was a taped Dynamite with the belt for a match that she was going to have like 3 days later after the taping was actually happening. So that has happened on AEW. So just kind of strange. We haven't really seen this type of thing happen that much since way back when WCW or WWF were doing, taped runs where they would, tape 3 weeks of TV ahead of time, or something would happen on a house show and 3 weeks later or whatever. So
yeah.
Interesting times. So that is where we stand right now as far as New Japan goes. The next big show, I believe, is New Beginning in Hiroshima, and that is going to be next week on the 10th and the 11th. Some big matches there. We have a IWGP Heavyweight Tag Championship match. We have the current champions of the Guerrillas of Destiny getting a rematch against the Dangerous Tekkers. And also on that same show is the Junior Heavyweight Championship match of Hiromu versus Sho. So those two should be definitely bangers to watch. And then on the following day, on February the 11th, we have the title match, the dual title match of the IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental Championship. Kota Ibushi defending his titles against Sanada. So most likely we will be back after those two shows later in that week.
Yep, I'll be here.
And I think that is it. And then except for the one match that we know is tuning in on Friday the 26th to see Moxley versus Kenta. You got anything you want to touch on before we wrap it up? Though I think it was funny that people actually thought Jay White was going to show up at the Royal Rumble, which is just ridiculous because we all knew he signed a super long contract. And it would make the most sense for him. I'm sure he's making good money. I guess it depends on how he is as a person, whether he values money or creative freedom a little bit more. And he's way closer to home, working out of Japan than, a 28-hour flight between the East Coast and New Zealand.
Yeah, not everybody gets their news from reliable sources, so I guess maybe people didn't know. But yeah, it was just a silly thing. Like everybody who knew, right?
Right. Yeah.
But yeah. I don't have anything else.
All right, cool. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning into That's Wrestling. If you're listening to this as a podcast, head over to the YouTube and Twitch, whichever one you prefer. We do these shows live, so if you subscribe over there, it'll let you know when we are going live. If you haven't, go give us a review at your favorite podcast app. Comments, questions, feedback, you can send those to eric@thatswrestling.com. You can also drop us a Twitter @thatswrestling1 with the number 1. There is a Discord you can come hang out with as well. So for Trae Wisecarver, my name is Eric LaRoche, and you've been watching and listening to That's Wrestling. See you later, guys.